Today we're here to review the final, hopefully, video. I may do more, but the GOAT performance drill, which I've had a lot of coaches email me about the results. It's part three. It's a quick review and some updates. The updates are come first and how I implement it, because I think if you've seen one and two, you get and understand why the drill works. The amount of things that are making this drill so athletic for kids and athletes, I should say, and even high level athletes, the benefits they're still getting out of this drill. And it's a brain drill. It is not an agility drill, and we'll cover a little bit of that. So on the first slide here, as I go, basically, I'll give you an updated part of the drill. You'll see the evolution, especially with the large groups and team settings, and it's actually just easier to implement. I'll show you a really advanced athlete doing it. I'll give you the new updates, a short review of the benefits. If you've hopefully watched this video, if you've watching this video first and not parts one and two, you'll get a sound understanding. If you're, this is all you really need to watch if you're an athlete. But if you're a coach, then you may want to go back and look at levels one and or videos one and two, part one and two, because then you can get a grasp of really what's going on and maybe modify it to your liking a little bit. And then in the end, a list of variables and coach's choice, um, of things that you can add to the goat drill. You'll see a number of things. But here's the big thing: there's no magic combination of all these things. All this only matters, that you're doing it right. You can keep it simple, you can make it more advanced. Do not progress this drill slow. Like, don't say, hey, I'm going to add one thing for a month and then this drill, in my previous things when I talk about it, is beneficial because it's hard and the athletes don't do it properly, right? And there's no proper way to do this. This is a drill you want your athletes to be frustrated. This is the magic in the drill. So here's an updated version of this drill. And what I'm doing here is we're showing you an object right there really quick. This is just for this purpose. This is where the athlete's watching it and you'll understand why they're doing it. The athlete's watching that drill. And here we have a roughly about a 6'5" tight end, um, played in the Big Ten, and will most likely play at another level. And you're watching him do the drill. I usually do it with tennis balls, but this drill he's doing it with a football because he's got monstrous hands. I wouldn't recommend. The only reason I wouldn't do it with a football, maybe with younger athletes if they don't have hands. And you can do this if you want with a football, but you'll see even at times he around the back over here he struggled a little bit and he started stepping a little more. Not that that's not good or not good for the drill. I'm just saying if you want to go fast, I would use a tennis ball or a small ball. But this athlete can handle a ball. He does it really well with a ball. This is crazy. So the drill, obviously, as you're watching it, you'll know he went underneath the first cone, and we've obviously progressed to a three-cone drill. Around the second one, while he's watching the target, keeps moving. You'll notice right there he does a hip flip. If we move that back, you'll see that as he goes around that drill, you're going to see him do a hip flip. So he's not going to lose vision of the drill or the object over here. And notice I have the people standing in the circles to block his vision as he's running the drill, right? And putting their hands in their face as much as possible. So then you'll see there's two parts to this drill where he uses different combinations. One here, he uses the hip flip, which a lot of defensive coaches like, and the other one's a head snap to lose the target, snap your head around and find it again. So we'll go right here. Okay, so as he was running through the drill the second time, he does a hip flip there, and right now he's coming in. He loses his visions because he has to turn his head, snaps it around, and finds the target again. And again, remember, folks, that this is a very athletic person. Now, how I modified this for team setting is, and look, you don't need the circles. I actually, at my place, also have bigger circles. I feel my athletes can go a little faster around bigger circles. You can make cones. You don't need to buy circles. And I have my athletes stand in the middle. So then what happens is realistically, the line would come from the side here. This person jumps in, the next person moves up as soon as that drill's over for that athlete, and then they all just jump forward. This person grabs the ball, and then we'll jump right in and start. This would be a lot more delay than I normally have, but we ran out of bodies. But the point is that this drill, we just have them start jumping to the next one to perform the drill with somebody in it. Okay. Now remember, there's a lot of things going on. The things that we had is we can have little pieces of mat and flooring on the ground. You'll see one of my drills that I had that. But ultimately, the focus is on an object. This one's still, some people, you can put this on a swinging pendulum. I talked about that in levels 1 and 2. So you can see how he goes around the corner. Again, I'll just play this and we'll move on to the next slide. But ultimately, this is a brain drill. This is one of the most athletic drills I've ever seen develop athleticism in my athletes. And you can see, like I said in parts 1, that where my athletes that have concussions, they've had concussions in the last 6 months, get a little sick. So when they do this drill the first time, so then what happens is I just back them off, and it's usually about 1 or 2 sessions of maybe not doing it as fast, basically is what I did, and maybe not worry about the hands and while they do this drill, and then I let them back in, and they were completely fine. So the next drill, okay, and the big thing too is, remember, like if you watch levels 1 and 2, what I modified, instead of having someone yell out 3, 6, 9, whatever number you wanted, and then the athletes would subtract 1, 2, or 3 that day, whatever I told them. So we don't have to have another person run the drill as a coach. The athlete, when they start running, just yells out numbers. Okay, I tell them, hey, you're subtracting from 100 today, or 199, and they subtract 3 or add 3. Okay, if they add 3, I just tell them to start at 2, 3, or 1, and they move ahead. And what that's doing the same as math, but you don't need somebody to yell out the numbers, okay? And remember, have a team member block divisions and circles. And if you want to know why we're yelling out numbers, it's a cognitive thing. I cover it in parts 1 and 2 on the neuroperplexity research I found. I listed that in parts 1 and 2. But anyway, this is in the team setting. This is how this drill is going to be performed. So here's what we have here. This is a pretty advanced athlete performing this drill, folks. And when I say that, I mean highly, highly skilled. So you can see, here he goes to start. And again, there's an object over here he's staring at. Notice there's little things on the wall. You'll even see him move those. You actually, if I can find the right spot, you'll see him slip. And he is still able to keep his balance. And this athlete's been performing this drill most of the summer. So you can take a look at how smooth this is. And I'm going to stop it in key points to show everyone some pretty crazy positions that this athlete's in. So as he's running around, and he's running. Okay, folks, first position, look at this. He can place his foot that wide. He's moving his hands around his waist while he's doing math. Okay, I train with various shades of glasses on. That's a whole nother 2 hours of YouTube videos. And he's looking at an object here while he's doing math, while he's running. Look how the foot is placed outside here. Look at the structure. If his foot wasn't strong, which I highly recommend you look on my YouTube page for the spring ankle exercises. If his foot wasn't strong, he could not get this low. His hips would be here higher, and he couldn't turn like this. So from that spot, I want you to see this position. Look how far his knees in front of his toes. His ankle and his feet, he's done spring ankle for a couple years now. For a 210-pound athlete to be able to hold those positions, his agility, this is not an agility drill, but his agility and his fluidity comes from the strength in his feet. Okay, and that can't be done, in my opinion, by doing all these crazy exercises that people throw on YouTube. You have to apply a lot of stress, and a hard stress, okay, very specific stress to do that. So as you watch him do the drill, he never lost the target. He's going to come over here. He's going to do a hip flip. So if I can pause it there, I want to come back. You can see he just did that hip flip, but watch him. Again, he's not losing the vision of the target. He places, I'm sorry about that, he's placing his, okay, here was the first one I want you to see. This foot, that knee holding that position on an athlete that's just changed direction. It's pretty impressive. He stepped backwards to land that. I believe he stepped on a thing. No, he didn't. That's the next time maybe through. But you can see how he's moving around. Honestly, I should just let him go a little bit, and then what we'll do is we'll review that video a second. You can see how smooth and crazy this is, and this is a pretty advanced athlete. You can see on that side he did the head snap right there. Let's just look at how fast the head snap is. Boom, snap, finds a target, comes through, and the next athlete jumps in. But the point to all this is how fluid your athlete can get to when completing this drill. It's pretty impressive. Now, again, this is a brain drill. Remember, folks, you can see there's another foot position, how far the knee's in front of the toe, being athletic. Folks, if you think this is the type of core training that your body that makes you an athlete, not planking on a bridge. Trust me, every rep in this whole drill, the spine has stabilized instantaneously in a different pattern because of the eye position, the hand position, everything is going to be different in every part of this drill. This is athletic core stabilization, not planking in your gym. That I would recommend that after a back surgery, not for athletes or anybody that does any functional jobs or anything. This is the type of core stabilization. And when I say core, I don't mean the front of the stomach. I'm saying the hips and the spine. This is what your core. I talk about it in levels 1 or part 1 and 2 of this video. But please, folks, the reality is this is definitely a amazing drill for core stabilization. We'll let it run through one more time, and you can see how fluid he is as he finishes. And yeah, it is pretty impressive. Now remember, he's tracking a fixed object. He's moving his hands and feet. This is the variables that exist. He's doing math while he's moving his hands and feet. Okay. Again, I have the athlete subtract 3, add 3. You can start at 100 if you're subtracting. Add 3, start at any number. Have team members block visions. Okay. While they're running around the circles, right? And it's I even have athletes. You can even have them push on their shoulders periodically to knock them off balance. So that's the craziest thing about this drill is that remember, if you watch parts 1 and 2, this is not a agility drill. I said so many times, this is a brain warm-up drill. You do this drill before you do a speed program, before you do a weightlifting program, because it will ingrain your patterns to be better, because it creates, and I talk about why it creates a learning environment in your brain. And I'm telling you, it is the best athletic development drill I have ever seen. The coordination improvements are profound. I mean, athletes that I just assumed couldn't reach a certain level on maybe an exercise or something, it opened up their brains and they were able. And it kind of takes off the inhibitors, and I don't know why. But again, and I've had many reports of this, athletes breaking records and performance increases, obviously, with a number of coaches that have seen this drill and added it in. And this drill, I did not, I invented the GOAT part of this and all the things added to it. It was originally from a Dr. Sundek from Buffalo, New York. I reference her in the first video. But anyway, here's some other considerations of this whole thing. Go from small circles to large. I like slow to fast, but I just go large all the time. I'm not kidding you. I just like to do this drill fast. People ask about barefoot. Well, I would go maybe you could go from barefoot to shoes. I always want to be faster. Or the sequence I would go is I'd start with shoes on, let them get to know the drill, then go back to barefoot, and then end up with shoes because the key is I want to be going fast as possible. Folks, when I say fast as possible, I mean this drill is not to be done slow and perfect. This drill should be have chaos in it. The brain should be going, there's chaos, okay? Again, you're trying to get the brain activated, causing neurotransmitter dumps so that you have the ability to learn a new skill. This is a pre-workout speed training drill. The next slide covers like pregame that you can do for your athletes. And a pregame, I don't do a 3 agility drill, but you can see this athlete here. He just did this for me, but ultimately he's just doing the two cone version with his sport. If there's basketball, he could be dribbling a basketball. Okay, in the hockey, it's really nice. I'm not gonna have a ball go out there. You know what I mean? but he can do his stick with a basketball. You can do a basketball. They can be dribbling. There's all these variables to turn their brain and activate things in the brain that may not ever be connected before. Well, I shouldn't say that, but the level of connection. But anyway, this is just an example of how I would let my athletes do this in season, um, or for practice. And then when should you do this? You should do it after your athletes get warmed up. Speed and optimization is an article I wrote. Speed and skill optimization is a proposal for a new paradigm. This talks about, this is how I implement it. I did, when I wrote this article, I did not implement it, the goat drill, because I didn't have it. But basically, you do a sprint, and while you're resting, you do the goat drill. And then you go do a short sprint, whether it's a short sprint, whether it's a flying 10 or a 20, or whether it's a agility drill, whatever it is. They do a agility drill, a short sprint, and then my athletes go do the goat drill. And then after that, because there's that window of getting faster, after that, then we go and we do a drill or do our weight training, whatever is left. So that's when I would implement the drill. If you're a coach, go through parts 1 and 2. If you're an athlete, just do this. And that's the end of the goat drill. Hopefully my final version of this.